The new European Union Migration Pact has come into effect on Friday, reforming migration and asylum rules after months of political wrangling.
Pope Leo XIV focused directly on the migration crisis affecting the Canary Islands and described integration as a shared responsibility between newcomers and the hosts.
With Ukraine's strengthened intensity and efficiency of drone strike campaign, Kiev is trying to cut Crimea off from Russian control.
The European Union's new immigration and asylums reforms have come into effect on Friday after months of political wrangling. The new rules are designed to boost member states' autonomy in response efforts to cases of irregular migration after several EU countries protested the old policy, calling it ineffective. The reforms are set to beef up security screenings at the border points in a major way. Member states can now undergo identity and security check processes lasting up to 7 days and store biometric information in a database. The screening aims to determine who should receive an accelerated or a normal asylum application process and who should be returned to their home country or a transit point. The new measures will also roll in a new fast-track rejection model where decisions can be carried out expeditiously in a matter of days. A solidarity mechanism is now also in place to ease the burden off nations who receive the bulk of migrants, like Greece, Italy, and Malta. Other countries are now expected to take on at least 30,000 asylum seekers a year under this new relocation system or opt out by paying €20,000 per migrant for another country to process. Critics say the new system will de facto result in increased detention times for migrants and are designed to prioritize speed over international obligations, forcing humanitarian concerns to take a backseat.
Pope Leo XIV landed in Tenerife on Friday for the final stop of his tour of Spain, focusing directly on the migration crisis affecting the Canary Islands. During a visit to the Las Reyes reception center, the pontiff told hundreds of residents that migration is part of the human condition, stating that in one way or another, we are all migrants. Later, the leader of the Catholic Church met with organizations to issue an appeal for greater protection on dangerous sea routes, declaring that God's love knows no borders. Describing integration as a process of shared responsibility, the Supreme Pontiff explained that those arriving in a new country must learn the language, respect the law, get to know local customs, and play an active part in community life. However, he warned that many still face a silent shipwreck after all, finding themselves alone and exposed to exploitation. Before concluding his trip with a massive open-air mass in the port of Santa Cruz de Tenerife, the Pope also delivered a direct message to human trafficking gangs, urging them to reflect on the suffering they cause and abandon the practice.
Russia's initial invasion of Ukraine, launched 12 years ago, started with the annexation of Crimea, a strategically important peninsula in southern Ukraine jutting into the Black Sea. But with Ukraine's strengthened intensity and efficiency of drone strike campaign, Kiev is now trying to cut Crimea off from Russian control. The Ukrainian military sank several Russian warships in the Black Sea and at their Crimean bases. Ukraine has also methodically targeted munitions depots, airfields and Putin's prized asset, the Kerch Bridge, the only link between annexed Crimea and Russia. The span was struck in October 2022, resulting in months of repairs. Now, Kiev is targeting Russia's ability to sustain its forces in Crimea, making military operations and Moscow's presence on the peninsula progressively untenable. Russia provides its forces in Crimea with petrol, diesel and aviation fuel through three main channels: road and rail tankers over the Kerch Bridge, shipments by sea and overland routes running through occupied parts of southern Ukraine. As Ukraine increasingly targets these links with drones and precision strikes, in a rare public acknowledgement, the Kremlin has recognized the scope of the problem.
The Polish army has welcomed the introduction of new F-35 fighter jets with an official ceremony in Lask on Friday. Poland signed a €4 billion contract in 2020 with the American company Lockheed Martin to acquire 32 F-35 fighter jets in the second largest arms deal in the country's history. 14 aircraft are scheduled to arrive in Poland by the end of this year, and all are scheduled to be delivered by 2029. They are one of the most widely used combat aircraft in NATO. The heroes of Top Gun Maverick and Iceman could only envy our pilots, Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk said during the ceremony. Polish President Karol Nawrocki stressed Poland is and will be stronger and safer in the coming years thanks to the F-35 aircraft. He also thanked the United States for sharing its technology and engineering achievements with Poland. Human dignity and international law are at the center of the European Union's reforms, European Commissioner for Migration Magnus Brunner told Euronews as the EU's pact on migration and asylum started to apply on Friday.
Yeah, we have firm but also fair new rules. This is the first time we have actually a comprehensive system, a European-wide comprehensive system with better border controls, border checks at the external European border, asylum procedures at the border, being more efficient, effective, quicker also with the asylum procedures.
According to the European Commission, only 29% of individuals who had their claims to stay rejected by the courts were deported in the last quarter. On the other hand, the EU's border force agency Frontex observed that irregular border crossings at the EU's external borders have fallen since 2021.
The next step will be to get more engaged with third countries outside the European Union, to work together with them on readmission, for instance, on returns also. And that's where we have to put the leverage we have as a European Union on the table, always together with migration, be it visa policy, be it trade policy, be it development policy as well.
On a visit to the Canary Islands in Spain, a major migration hotspot, Pope Leo XIV said on Thursday human dignity has no passport and does not lose its value when crossing a border.
Contrasting emotions in Mexico City on the opening day of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The city was torn between celebration and crisis. While fans danced in the stadium for the football tournament, more than 1,000 relatives of Mexico's missing people marched towards the venue carrying candles and photographs of loved ones who had vanished, many without a trace. Their message was simple. As the world's attention turns to football, they do not want the country's missing persons crisis to be forgotten. According to official figures, more than 130,000 people are registered as missing in Mexico. The number has steadily increased over the past 2 decades, coinciding with the expansion of organized crime groups and the intensification of Mexico's drug war. Many disappearances are believed to be linked to criminal organizations involved in drug trafficking, extortion, and human trafficking. Victims may be abducted, forcibly recruited, killed, or buried in unmarked graves. Activists frequently face threats from criminal organizations and have criticized what they describe as inadequate government support and protection.
Done so much that in that sense he can truly be compared in his own time and in his own way with Pablo Picasso, and it's not for nothing that, if there's a Picasso exhibition, there are queues around the block, and curiously enough, wherever in the world there are David Hockney exhibitions, there are queues around the block.
I think it's fair to say that David Hockney is like a national treasure People love his work, and just his name attracts new audiences. But what I think we can all appreciate about him is as he's got older, he never stops innovating.
Mexico made an immediate impression in a drama-filled opening match of the 2026 World Cup, winning 2-0 against South Africa in a game that produced 3 red cards. In front of a crowd of more than 80,000 spectators, Mexico took the lead in the 9th minute when Julian Quiñones scored the opening goal of the tournament. 35-year-old striker Raúl Jiménez headed in Mexico's second goal at the Estadio Azteca, which became the first stadium in the world to host games at 3 World Cups. South Africa had Sfefelo Sitole dismissed for denying a goal-scoring opportunity before Themba Zwane was shown a red card for a slap. Mexico's Cesar Montes was also sent off for a late foul. It was the first time there were 3 red cards given in the opening match of a World Cup tournament, and it's the most in a World Cup game since 4 were handed out when Portugal played the Netherlands at the 2006 tournament in Germany. Before kickoff, Colombian superstar Shakira and Nigerian singer Burna Boy performed Die Die, the official song of the tournament, and Italian tenor Andrea Bocelli rounded off the opening ceremony. The second opening day match saw South Korea take a late-game lead against the Czech Republic, leading them to a 2-1 win. Mexico now has 3 points in Group A and plays South Korea next Thursday in Guadalajara.